Hey there everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now last time, we took a look at Disney's Enchanted, which is said to be a masterpiece when it comes to parodying classic Disney and fairy tales. Now for today's blog, we're going to take a look at another fairy tale film. But unlike Enchanted, Shrek, and several other fairy tale parodies out there, this one is based on a 1997 novel about a beautiful young girl who has been put under an obedience curse since birth. Released on April 9th, 2004, the movie is Ella Enchanted. Now let's get the story started. As a baby, Ella receives a visit from Lucinda, her fairy godmother, and is bestowed with a magical talent that requires her to obey anything that she is told to do. This proves to be more of a curse than a blessing, particularly once her mother dies and she is forced to live with the cruel Dame Olga. Eventually, Ella embarks on a journey to find Lucinda and break the spell, accompanied by the handsome Prince Charmant. Now, what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, there are a lot of differences between the book and the movie, but this film is still a lot of fun, and a childhood favorite of mine at that. But before I get ahead of myself, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, this movie doesn't have too much trivia, but the only fun fact I can say that this movie is a co-production between companies in the US, Ireland, and in the UK. What I like in this movie is the scenery, from the forests to the mountains to the village of Frau. Even places like Giantville and the Elf Village look very interesting as well. I also like the costumes that are worn in this movie. They make everyone look like they came from the Middle Ages. However, there are some modern stuff thrown into this film. For example, there is a taxi-style carriage where we are introduced to Ella's stepmother and stepsisters, a mall-style market where Ella hangs out with her best friend Arita, and an emergency alarm gong during the final climax. Also, the fairy tale writers, the Grimm brothers, are mentioned a couple times in this movie. Also, there are a few modern pop songs that are heard in this movie, like Strange Magic, Walking on Sunshine, and Respect. The elves also sing songs like Joy to the World and Hit the Road. But there are two songs that are sung by the characters that I like to talk about. First is Somebody to Love, sung by Ella and a chorus of giants. To me, this is a great hit, and after watching this movie again, it makes me think of Scaramouche's cover from the rock stage hit, We Will Rock You. No surprise, since Queen was the original artist of this song, and I think Freddie Mercury would be proud. The last song is Don't Go Breaking My Heart, sung by Ella, Char, and the rest of the cast at the end of the movie. To me, the way this song is choreographed is kind of like a curtain call song that you'd see on stage. Anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, let's talk about the cast of this movie. Our main lead, Ella, is played by Anne Hathaway, best known from the Princess Diary films. But she's also been in films like Les Miserables, Rio, and Hoodwinked. Ella is under a curse given to her by a fairy named Lucinda, which makes her obedient. In my opinion, Ella is a strong-hearted and independent girl, and she's very sweet and helpful, even if her curse has been getting her into trouble at times. I also think Anne Hathaway's performance as Ella is absolutely wonderful. Next we have Prince Charmant, played by Hugh Dancy, whom, after this movie, voiced Marshall Mallow in Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return. Char is the son of the late king that was killed by his uncle. he is treated as a teen icon and has his own fan club, though he doesn't really agree with this label. In my opinion, Char is a great prince when accompanying Ella on her quest, and I like the fact that he wants peace in his kingdom. I also find it funny that he runs away from crazy fangirls. Next are Ella's stepsisters, Hattie and Olive, played by Lucy Punch and Jennifer Higham. Hattie is the oldest of the two and is president of the Prince Charmant fan club, while Olive is a kleptomaniac and dim-witted, but can be mistreated by Hattie and rarely speaks. To me, these two are absolute brats, and they made Ella hand over her late mother's necklace, steal from the market, and they even blamed Arita for making her do it. The main villain, Sir Edgar, is played by Cary Elwes, who I know from The Princess Bride, Quest for Camelot, The Cat Returns, A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, and of course, Epic Mickey 2. Edgar is Char's greedy uncle who wants the crown for himself. In my opinion, Edgar is pretty similar to Scar from The Lion King. He made Char believe that the ogres were the ones who killed his father, and has his guards mistreat several creatures like giants and elves in his kingdom. When Hattie and Olive tell Edgar about Ella's curse, he tries to use Ella to kill Char, but thankfully, that plan fails when Ella frees herself from her curse. But, like most villains, Edgar had a backup plan, which was to use a poisoned crown to kill Char during his coronation. Edgar's pet snake, Heston, is voiced by Steve Coogan, whom I know from Night at the Museum, Around the World in 80 Days, Despicable Me 2, and The Secret Life of Pets. In my opinion, Steve's voice for Heston is very sly, like most snake characters like Sir Hiss or Ka. I also think Heston is a very sneaky, like when he stows away in Char's satchel while he's with Ella. And Heston was this close to killing Char by biting him, but thankfully Ella stopped him by kicking him away. Mandy, the household fairy, is played by Minnie Driver, best known from Princess Mononoke, Tarzan, and of course Phantom of the Opera. Mandy was the only person kind to Ella after her father left on a business trip. She mostly has some flaws in her spells. Mandy's boyfriend Benny is played by Jimmy Mystery. Benny has been accidentally turned into a talking book when one of Mandy's spells goes pear-shaped. She was trying to cast a spell to trim his hair. Mandy gives Benny to Ella in order to accompany her on her quest to break her curse. His pages are pretty similar to a magic mirror or a crystal ball. Next we have Slannon, an elf played by Irish actor Aidan McArdle. Unlike most of the elves who love singing and dancing, Slannon wants to become a lawyer. In my opinion, Slannon is an okay character. I mean, he's a decent supporting character, but sometimes he can be a tad bland. But I like the scene where he rounds up some reinforcements and rescues Ella from the dungeon. We also have two giants, named Mr. Kupadoc and Broomhilda, played by Alvaro Lucchesi and Heidi Klum. Kupadoc was the first giant that Ella and Char met in Giantville. he was discussing with Char about some problems that he and his fellow giants have been having. And Brumhilda is a giantess who has feelings for Slannon despite his size. What's more, they're the only two giants who help Ella and her friends during the final climax. Next we have Nish, an ogre who eats humans, played by Jim Carter, who played Detective Victor Getz from The Thief Lord. This guy starts out as an antagonist at first, but later in the film, Nish and the other ogres join Slannon to help during the final climax. Next is Lucinda Perryweather, a well-meaning but misguided fairy played by Vivica A. Fox, who played future Monique in Kim Possible: A Stitch in Time, Jasmine Hiller in the Independence Day films, and of course Carol of the Arrow in Sophia the First. Lucinda is the fairy who cursed Ella to be obedient. She never takes back her spells and always helps at the wrong time. And last but not least, the narrator is played by former Monty Pythonite Eric Idle. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, Ella Enchanted is a decent fairy tale film to watch. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things that make it different from the book, but still, this film is a lot of fun. The scenery in this film makes it feel like the Middle Ages. The pop songs that play in this film are fun to listen to. Also, Ella is very independent and a strong heroine, despite the fact that she's under an obedience curse throughout most of her life. And I like the characters that support her, like Mandy, Benny, Slannon, Arita, and even Char. I even think Char and Ella make a nice couple. So, if you'd like to give this film a watch, then I highly recommend it. It makes a great film to watch with your children and the rest of your family. As for my final rating, well, I give this film a 93% out of 100. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Be sure to join me again for my next blog, because next, we're going back to the Mystic Isles. Mustang Power!